How is it going, guys? This is DestinyCat coming back at you with another Injustice 2 video. And today, well, by the way, this game has been out for, what is it now, 5 years? So, you know, a lot of us Injustice 2 Necros are still playing it, and more power to you. This game has a lot of potential and a lot of undiscovered secrets, especially when it comes to some of the lesser known characters. Speaking of lesser known characters and lesser used characters, today I want to talk about Green Arrow. He is one of the game's most special characters, because the thing is, if you look at his matchup chart, he doesn't really have that many bad matchups. Like, most of his matchups are like 5-5s, 6-4 in his favor. Some really bad ones where he wins like matchup 7-3s, and then he's got like 1 or 2 that are maybe like 3-7s, but those are like, I don't even know if there's one of those. Most of them are just like, very even. That means he's very good at just like fighting anyone. And today I'm going to show you the character's strengths, weaknesses, some of the things to watch out for as you're playing against him, and some of the things you need to do if you're playing as him. I played Green Arrow for quite a while, and I'm starting to get the hang of him. So here we go. Now we're going to make a little guide for him for you guys. So first off, if you want to learn Green Arrow, I highly suggest that you go watch some of the two best Green Arrow players that were playing back in Justice 2's prime. That being Yamini and Sunio. I think Sunio, is still doing really well in Justice, or excuse me, MK11 with like Robocop and stuff. And Yamini was really the one who reinvented the character for this game. You can also learn some from watching some Injustice 1 footage, because a lot of his moves are the same as with a lot of the legacy characters of the game. But overall, I'd say that Green Arrow is certainly a very good character, simply because he just fights everyone very well. So first off, let's go over some of his basic strings that you're going to be using. So 111 is his basic stand 1 string. This is very good for ending combos. It's also very good for whiff punishing. Note that the last hit is a high. It actually says mid here, but you can actually dodge it and for combo punishments that happen, like even on block. But it does say mid here for some reason. But I've seen people block it and actually punish him for it, because the hitbox is weird. So I don't really use that for like pressure. I'd mainly use that to end combos with. He's got his back 1 free. This is a good string to knock the opponent away at the end of combos as well. He has also got staying free. This string is great in the corner. It really sets up for the free slide in the corner, and this sets up for a number of Oki setups he has got, and he's got some of the most dirty Oki game, one of the most dirty Oki games I've seen. Another string you would want to learn is 2-2-3. This is a good string because it combos into arrow nicely, especially his lightning arrow, which actually makes it so you can actually get a back 3 off it. I'm sure right here if I can get a first try. Like that. That's actually one of his combo strings and pathings, combo paths. But other than that, his other string he's got is back 2-2-3. I think that's actually plus. The last is actually plus, I think. I believe it's actually plus. Back 2-3, plus 2. You can use this overhead. It's actually overhead as well. It goes into overhead, so he's got like mixed up with like slide and shit. We can do like you can't actually cancel like before the second hit, but you can do like some tricky stuff with back to 2 slide and stuff like that, and back to 2 arrow. But mainly use this string to be a plus on the setup. You can do like down 1 after it, jail down 1 after it. But overall, Green Arrow's most important string that you need to learn, and this is the string that you'll be jamming down your opponent's throats like all game, is his 4-2 down 1 free string. It looks like this. Now this is a mid to low into overhead. The reason why the string is so powerful is because not only does it knock the opponent away, but it's got a built-in mix-up, basically 3 or 4-way mix-up within the second and third hit. Basically, because he's got his trait, which is low arrow, you can do low into low. You can do low overhead low with the arrow. You also got the slide, which works the same way. If you don't have if you want to get some more damage in, you can do a slide instead. And then he's also got the basically jump back into low arrow, into hold down arrow, which is basically overhead. So that means that Green Arrow can mix you for days with his string. And basically, a lot of Green Arrow's plan is just doing this string into that, and basically you're so plus that you just yell anything after it. So just an example here. Let's just say that the opponent is blocking this, right? He got hit by the low arrow. Let's say that. Then you can do another one, and then here comes the mix-up of, am I gonna do, what I'm gonna do after this, right? And every time they get hit by an arrow, you basically are so plus that you can continue the pressure. This also means that there is things like cancel in between, or there's things like jump back arrow like that, or just jump back arrow and then do it low right here to bait them out. Things like that. But when you get even more insane, there is the whole thing that his low slide goes into a meter burn that's overhead and is safe on block with pushback, which means that basically this becomes low into overhead at the end. That's an overhead right there. This is into that is an overhead, which means that if the opponent is catching the opponent not blocking for a second, then you basically just get to knock them full screen and you can start green arrow zoning game over again. So basically, any situation that arrow puts you in where he is like staggering you, he's pressuring you, he's making you guess on overhead and lows, he's basically just chipping away your health, annoying the hell out of you. And when you throw in his throws as well, which leaves you close and gives you Oki, you can go in and get some Oki off that, as well as the slide, and obviously faking out forward freeze and doing meter burn forward freeze, and just plus frames, and some of his other arrows, as long as Ice Arrow with Lethal 4 combo, he suddenly becomes basically this extremely potent, powerful tempo character, because basically he can play at any range. You can zone the opponent, you can get in here and you can start pressuring them. He's overall just a very jack of all trades character, but he does excel mostly in zoning and pressure, I'd say. Now his other his thing that also makes Green Arrow powerful is his straight. Normally you only fire a normal arrow. You can do different kinds of fire different ranges. You can fire, if you hold back, you'll fire it upwards. So if you see someone's jumping in, you can do like a scout out, scout them out of the sky. He's got the low arrow, that's a low. He's got the normal one's a high, and then he's got jump in low here, and then he's also got the cancel with L2. But if you press down circle, you'll get the fire arrows. You get 3 of these every time you charge it, every time you reload. This does a lot of damage on ship and is overall his best zoning tool. So this is the arrow you'll use most of the time. Also when you get 3 of them. This is the most potent. Look how much ship that does. And you can scout people jumping. If you get by the last arrow, you immediately get a refill once again. So this is what you will be doing Green Arrow. You'll be using this. And again, this goes into his pressure game where you still got that overhead low mix up with the arrow. Did I mention that arrow is pretty much safe on block? There's a gap in between, but it's pretty much safe on block. So that means that you don't really have to take a risk when you throw out an arrow. You just have to block afterwards if the opponent blocks. Then he's got the electric arrow. This isn't as good. It's used sometimes for combos, but the real reason it's good is because it's got it's faster than normal arrow. It doesn't knock down, but it is faster than normal arrow. It doesn't do as much chip, but it does. It's much faster. Leaves the opponent stunned in the air, which allows for conversions that normally aren't possible, such as back freeze off of certain strings. Another thing to note is that if you hit the opponent with, let's say, an ice arrow, for example, I'll get to that in a second what that does, and then go into an electric arrow and do like this into that, you'll actually be plus, very plus, so you can actually go for like a setup after it. It's not really something I use much. I usually just like to go for damage into an arrow reload, but sometimes this is actually a very good idea to do, because you can get like a throw off it or something. I'm obviously fucking up, but you get the idea. Now the last arrow is his ice arrow, and this is used for combos. Basically, if you want to get hit by this, they get frozen in the air, or frozen in a solid state. Works the same as like Sub-Zero's, ice ball from MK, anything like that. Captain Cold's freeze, whatever. You get a full combo of that. So back free off that, or whatever you want. Another thing that's pretty nice is that they actually changed that in Injustice 2. Is that in the first game, if you hit someone with an ice arrow, they restood on the ground, which was a little bit too broken, I think. But in this game they fixed it, so now they just get stunned in the air. Not a big deal, but that's something to note. Another thing you need to note is that basically every time you hit someone with a combo, you want to do like an arrow reload at the end. You don't want to do like things like this. This is really bad. Like if you do like, what's a good example? Do like something like this, right? Go like, oh, I'm gonna do that. Well, okay, you got some damage, but you don't really want the damage. You want to basically reload your arrows as much as possible, because every time you reload your arrow, you're spending time. The opponent can punish you for it. So the best situation to reload arrow is when the opponent can't do anything about it. And for example, at the end of a combo, so you do like a reload right here. Knock them away, you reload, now you can start your zoning game, right? Keep in mind that let's say you freeze someone with an ice arrow, and then you try to reload your ice arrow again. You actually won't come out because you already had the arrow reload when the combo began. So keep that in mind that whenever you hit someone with an ice arrow, you have to reload a different arrow when the combo ends, which is kind of a bummer. You can't just keep doing ice arrows. So that's a little bit annoying, but that's how it goes. Alright, let's do his specials now. Obviously, I'm only going over the specials that are important and the drinks that are important, the moves that are important. There are a lot of other things he can do, but this is like the most like basic, level of gameplay that Green Arrow has. By far his best special move is his Savage Blast Down Back 2. This is an amazing getaway tool, as well as wake up tool. It builds bar. It's a special. Meter Burn shoots 2 on the ground. It's very good at keeping distance. You can actually avoid things like Black Adam's Black Magic, things like that, things that like hit you on the ground, because he actually does like a slight jump. So if you're gonna backdash and do this, you might as well backdash because you're building bar and you're throwing like a projectile out there. So if your opponent gets close, they get hit, and if they get hit by this, well, then you get a full arrow reload. This is basically safe. I've never been punished by doing this for sure, but if someone gets like blocked, it's like not gonna happen. Sometimes if people jump over, they can punish, but not if they block it. This is by far his best special. His two other specials that I want to go over is his Down Back 1 special. This is basically like a very bad anti-air. Or a combo extension tool, mainly a combo extension tool. Basically you can use this as like a side switch. So this will be like a side switch combo. Oh, I dropped it. Let's go do like a basic combo here. Like that, and then you get like an arrow reload here. That's used for space switching sides, mainly. Meter Burn will fire 4 arrows out and like this. Sometimes you can use it if someone jumps at you, okay, you can like anti-air them out. Another use for it is if you freeze someone in the air. I don't really have a good example of this, but if I go like this into Ice Arrow, you can like shoot them like that, and you get a back free off it. If you didn't get to do a back free before, of course, but you get the idea. It's good for that. The other one is the opposite of that. You're in the air, and it's the down arrow, Down Back 1. And this seems, very, insignificant and, very harmless, but it's actually a very dangerous tool. The reason for that is in the corner, it actually hits like kind of like a cross-up is the thing. So you can see right here, if you go like that, it's overhead, right? But you can't really block that. It's really hard to block it. It's really annoying to deal with. And a lot of Green Arrow's corner gameplay involves this, as well as linking it with the slide and go for things like that, where it's just an ambiguous like cross-up setup. And basically every time someone gets hit by it in the corner, they have to hold whatever next you're gonna do, because you land right in front of them. You're plus SL. So now you can do it again. If they think you're gonna throw, they're gonna try to throw, and you get this again. Now you got your, like we talked about earlier, the the mix-up of the stagger and the stagger with 4-2. You can stagger that, and then the overhead and low mix-ups of like, am I gonna go low? Am I gonna go overhead? Am I gonna stagger it? Am I gonna throw you? I'm gonna go for a combo here, like that, right? So that's where Green Arrow really shines in the corner when he gets the offensive going. His other special that I want to talk about is the reverse of Savage Blast, which is the up arrow right here. This is used for an anti-air. It's much better than this one for anti-airing. I like throwing this out when I expect people to jump. And just like with the Savage Blast, if someone gets hit by this, you basically get a full Green Arrow, like a free arrow reload, which is what you want with this character. The other thing that Green Arrow that you want to, the other like special move that we want to talk about here is the Hurricane Bow. This is his best wake up along with the slide. Slide is also his other special. But Hurricane Bow basically makes it so that the opponent has to kind of worry. You can use this for chip as well, because it does a lot of chip. And if it hits, you get some meter burn and get a full combo out of it. Would get a back free off it. You can actually interrupt it, and there's a gap between this and the meter burn. Where he like jumps, you can like down one, or you can like meter burn back free. It's so sometimes if you want to do a Green Arrow, is that you wanna basically not do the meter burn sometimes, because if the opponent back frees and you don't do the meter burn, they block it, then you basically get to block the meter burn back free and you don't get punished for it. But if you do go for the meter burn, then you get punished. So that's like the mix up, the mind game with that. The other thing that you can use it for, when you basically use any of his like specials for this, is that you've got the down one arrow game, right? But there's a gap in this. However, there's not a gap in down one Hurricane Bow right here. So that means that basically if the opponent tries to poke out of your down one arrow, they might give out your Hurricane Bow. or your Savage Blast, or your Slide. I don't recommend doing Slide because it's a little bit too crazy, but either Hurricane Bow or down one Savage Blast is a very good way to keep the opponent guessing because they don't really have a gap in it. But you don't get much other damage from the Savage Blast. It knocks the opponent away, keeps you at a good distance where you can reload your arrow again if they get hit. It's one of Green Arrow's like many like qualities that he has against a lot of the cast, is that he can basically stay at a distance where he's got a lot of range to play his game. Now, some of his weaknesses, we're gonna get into combos in a second and go over his super, but some weaknesses Green Arrow has is that he doesn't really have a good like string that you can use in neutral. This is mainly used, when you get the pressure on. This is used as well for that. 1-1-1 is not really reliable because of the weird hitbox. Back free, standing free is probably the only thing you're gonna get. That's like, or maybe 2-2. That's like decent at like the neutral range. But mainly Green Arrow's neutral is just like Savage Blasts. Down one arrow, down one Savage Blast, down one arrow, down one arrow, down one Savage Blast, slide, and down one Hurricane Bow. And then, throw in some, arrows and reload arrows in there, and you basically got Green Arrow's, neutral game. And it's, I have to say, that is one of his like worst qualities, is that he doesn't really have that strong of a neutral. I mean, he can deal with a lot of the other characters because he's got so many places where he can hit you at, with the arrows. He's got so many ranges and like situations where he can hit you with them because he can fry them in so many different like altitudes and places. But when it comes to like getting pressured, your only real option is like meet him back 3 or down 1. That's the only thing he has. Luckily, he does have a really good down 1. How fast is down 1 actually? It's a 7 frame down 1. It's pretty good. Minus 3. He does have, good down 1 to deal with. Some of the tools of some of the better characters in the game. Not saying he's bad. He's actually, I'd say he's definitely in the top 10 for sure. Just because, maybe even higher, because he just has a good matchup against everyone, regardless. So it doesn't really matter that his neutral game is bad because, he makes up for it with having a really good trait, really good zoning, some best zoning game, counter zoning as well. Pressure, stagger game, and some pretty clean, pretty damaging combos as well. Now let's get into his combos right here. So the most basic combo Green Arrow players do is that they, do a down 1 into this, and they get like a full combo here, like that, and then you get your arrow reload. Other than that, another combo you'll do is you'll do that, and you'll get like a reload here with a side switch. That's what you want to do if you want to keep the opponent in the corner, for example. If you want to get yourself out of the corner, right? The other thing to note is, whenever you get Ice Arrow, reload, or you can reload after as well. Oh, I dropped it. But you can reload as well after. I just like reloading before. I like reloading first. There you go. There you got like the game here. But other than that, his combos are pretty simple. You basically just back free whenever you hit someone with an arrow or Ice Arrow or like a Hurricane Bow. There is an advanced Hurricane Bow combo. It's very difficult to do, I think. At least if you're not an experienced player with this character. But it basically was the Hurricane Bow. Let's see if I can do it first try here. You have to be like very, but it was just like ton of damage. This is like his optimal Hurricane Bow combo, like that. And then you get like whatever you want after that, essentially. But the timing of this is very strict, and you have to be like very much on point with it in order to get it. See, that part is always kind of tricky at the last part there. You want to walk forward, but you don't want to walk too far forward as well. And if you walk forward and hit X at the same time, you get the forward free. And I didn't get my dash there. That combo is very difficult. I don't really go for it because I can't land it consistently. Most Green Arrow players don't go for this, even though it's there we go. You see how much damage there, 42% for that. Damn. And a side switch, and of course you can do whatever else you want instead. Like that, if you want to keep them on the same side. A little bit less damage, but it's fine. For corner combos, he has got some very nice things. Well, mainly in the corner, remember I told you that you also want to end your game with like your combo with like reload. Well, in the corner I think you want to end with slide actually, because you get this off it, like that big cross up. So if the opponent happens to get hit by whatever, you can do things like this, right, and get a full combo. And then you get to do the setup here, and you can even meter burns like for like instant knockdown. Look at that, that's really broken, right? just really broken. You can use all your bar so they can't clash, and basically just kill them with like, you know, a few arrows. Basically, it's kind of busted. Honestly, it's kind of busted. Other than that, he's got insane pressure. Like I said, I'm not gonna go over like all of his like advanced combos, but you know, just to show you some of the cool shit he can do. You know, if you do like, it's like a cool combo. This is a cool combo that I've seen a lot of arrow players do. Things like that, where you get like, you know, other than that you can do like, oh, I don't know, like that, for example, or you can do, you know, whatever you want. But yeah, if you want to learn this character, I highly suggest you doing it. He is insanely fun, extremely good against the meta. He really counters the meta in a way that a lot of other characters don't. And while he does have some bad matchups, most of the matchups are like even 5-5, 6-4s, or even 7-3s in his favor. And it makes it so, I think Batman is actually a good matchup for him as well, because Batman just can't do anything with all the arrows. So he's just a character that really, you know, he's really the meta counter, I'd say. He's really the character that just fights very well against everyone. I would highly recommend picking him up just to have a backup character in case your main doesn't work, because he just fights everyone so well. And if you like kind of a zoning, kind of runaway playstyle, or even like a pressure playstyle, I think he fits the game very well. He just does a lot of the good stuff. What I really like about him as well is he can play so many different kinds of games within, you know, Injustice. He can be a zoner, he can be a pressure, you know, character. He can be like a rush down character. He can do a lot of different things, and it makes it so that he can fight everyone at kind of their game. You know, keep up with, you know, characters that, you know, are better zoned than him, like Starfire or like Enchantress that can like reflect his arrows or whatever. You can just go in with Ice Arrow and like start going on the offensive instead. Supergirl, you can do the same, you know, things like that. And then when you fight a character like Bane or maybe even like Flash or something, you can just play the zoning game, you know, or game, and you'll be good. Anyway, guys, that is my quick guide for Green Arrow. If you found this useful, please let me know in the comments what you think about it, and I might, you know, play some Green Arrows in the future. I have some Green Arrow gameplay on my channel as well, so if you guys are interested in that, then you know, let me know. As always, this has been Destiny Cat, signing off.